as you can see, one of the physical books I want to talk about is Death Alive with George Pendle. Now, Death Alive is a long, long history, basically about death's life, you could call it. Um, in the book, kind of read an excerpt from the back. Alas, the mysterious, feared, and misunderstood being known only as Death talks frankly and forgettably about his infinitely awful existence, chronicling his abusive childhood, his near-fatal addiction to life, his excruciating time in rehab, and the ultimate triumph of his true nature. This long-awaited biography finally reveals the inner story of one of the most troubling and troubled figures in history. For the first time, Death reveals his affairs with the living, his maltreatment at the hands of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, the ungodly truth of being the infamous Jesus accident, and that's how they have that in quotations, the loneliness of being the end of all things. Intense, unpredictable, and instantly engaging, Death Alive is not only a story of triumph against all odds, but it's also a tender, moving tale of unconditional love in a universe that, despite its profound flaws, gave Death the fiery determination to carve out a successful existence at his own terms. So basically, there is a lot of stories in the book. Basically, Death is supposed to be the son of Satan and sin, and it talks about him. It does talk about him having, yes, an addiction to life. It's kind of a weird thing, but also going through history, different animals and that, and his viewpoints on all of them. They do. It does kind of make fun of religion in a way, just so you know, but it is for comedic effect. And there's a lot to it. Basically, the whole deal about Jesus' death, role, and his death. Um, I love how it says in the notes, Death was born in hell, the only son of Satan and sin. He was educated in the palace of Pandemonium in the Garden of Eden. Since before the dawn of time, he has ushered souls into the darkness of eternity. This is his first book. Um, I love one of my favorite parts is actually the ending, which I won't give away, but it is really humorous. And there's so many parts of it, like they talk about, one of the most famous ones, Cain and Abel. Uh, there's kind of a match between himself and another figure. So it is really an interesting book, and there's just way, way too much to talk about it. The thing is, it is kind of an interesting read because you don't think about death in the way you would like you do in this book. Now, the closest I would say that I've seen death portrayed is if you've ever read, and I mean, you could fill up video after video, I mean, like a few months worth probably, of Discworld books. This one is probably the closest to death from the Discworld books that I've ever seen. And what year did this come out? I only saw it like in one bookstore. It came out in 2008. So it is about a 13-year-old book, but I kept my copy because I love it. And I don't get rid of a lot. I keep books that I really enjoy. And over the course of time, I've had to get rid of books for various reasons. But this is one I've always hung on to just because it is funny. And it is, and I hate to admit it, for a book that's about comedy, it does have some touching moments. Um, the unconscious Newt lives his entire life in a comatose state, waking only to mate, go back to sleep, and die. That's kind of how it views, talks about certain animals and their death. Also, kind of like, let me see if I can find it. I don't know if it's going to show it or not. Grievous the shouts of the many man killed by the snapping beak of the beast duck-billed Ovid. They actually have the platypus in here, which I just find hilarious. That would probably offend somebody. Cain and Abel, games of uncle, dragged on forever since neither knew what the word meant. So there is a lot of art in here. It does talk about in hell, soul trading. I love this one. Dachshunds, the reason there are no fairies in the world. So there's a lot of humor in it. Definitely worth checking out if you can find it, whether it be a physical book or e-reader. I don't know if it's on e-reader or not. George Pendle is the guy who wrote it. Um, Looks like I didn't notice this in the back. I want to kind of see if I can find a couple of his other books, which are The Strange Angel and The Remarkable Millard Fillmore. So, yes, please check it out if you want to. Like I said, very worth reading. Definitely a great book. That's it. I'll talk to y'all later. Take care. Bye.